Welcome back to What Matters This Week. We thank you for being here. The mayor is back with us, and the new executive director of CEDO, Luke McGowan. Luke, appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
About a month on the job.
Mm-hmm.
So what's it like so far? I mean, I know the boss is here, but you can be honest.
Yeah, I can only say so much, but it has been, I have to say, an incredible month. So I've spent these last few weeks just getting to know the full breadth of everything that the department does, that the Community and Economic Development Office does, and all of the people working sort of inside the department and outside in all of the sort of various nonprofit and community groups that we work with. So I've really been impressed and inspired by sort of the commitment of everyone to serving the needs of Burlington and kind of the pretty vast expanse of things that the department works on. So it's everything from sort of reducing lead hazards, so to protect our kids from the hazards of lead, to helping communities of color, helping them feel like this is a community they belong to helping make sure people have the training they need to get the jobs that they need in the future, and ensuring affordable housing. So it's really sort of a long scope of projects, and I'm just now starting to get my arms around them. And
you had family in Vermont or New Hampshire, is that correct? Is that why you wanted to come back?
Yeah, so my wife's family's in Vermont. They're down in southern Vermont, so they say this is a long ways away. It doesn't feel that far, but it's a place we've been living for the past couple of years and had always sort of been looking at Burlington as a really exciting, dynamic place. Yeah. And so when this opportunity came up, we jumped on it.
You have quite a background, but I did want to touch on, you were a speechwriter for Vice President Joe Biden?
I did some time writing, so I was writing letters and speeches, so sort of handled a lot of different types of issues, and that was my sort of first job working in DC after the Obama campaign.
Okay, let's talk about work. I bother the mayor all the time when it comes to the Moran Plant, but that falls under your purview, mm-hmm. right? So I understand there are some developments, finally.
Yeah. So Moran is a project that is full steam ahead, which is really exciting, and so I'm still starting to understand the full scope of the history of Moran and where we're coming from, but I can say, you both can fill me in. I'm sure some of your viewers can fill me in too. But essentially, we've sort of met our obligations and passed some important milestones. Last month, we passed through the Design Review Board, and we are now actively evaluating bids for construction to get this work done. And so I am excited for how this is going to be a sort of transformational project for the waterfront, which is a long time coming. But I want to let the mayor talk about, because I'm excited when I hear the mayor talk about his vision and how this fits in.
Yeah, so this is the unfinished piece of the northern waterfront, which has really come a long way in the last 5 years. You think back, it's almost hard to remember, where really the only thing that existed in the northern waterfront was weeds and the eyesore of the Moran Plant and a kind of fallen down skate park and then the Coast Guard building. Now, if you haven't been down there yet this summer, you should get down there before the end, because we've got the new marina that is operating down there, bringing people to Burlington. There's a new waterworks park that we opened this summer. And the sailing center's in its second year of operation. Lake Street, of course, was extended and looks great. We continue to see more people using that skate park than just about any other kind of public amenity in the city. The last piece, right in the middle of all that, is Moran. This is a pretty significant milestone that we now have full permits for the Moran frame concept that was laid out close to a year ago now, which for people who haven't seen it, if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's an interesting, I think it's a great solution to what has been this long-standing challenge. It basically is
what to do, what it can be.
It's a partial demolition. It takes down a lot of the kind of unattractive, kind of eyesore elements of the building. What remains is this kind of striking sculptural landmark. We're also going to stabilize all of the land around there, build this new pedestrian connection from the bike path out to this new park, Waterworks Park. We are on track at this point to see construction within a year from now, and it will be quite exciting to see that piece of the northern waterfront finished. When I say finished, stabilized, improved, the element, this Moran frame concept, is that there could be later additional investments in the building that might add a cafe, that might add shops along this new pedestrian connection connecting the Waterworks Park with the bike path. Perhaps this is an area where some of the events that currently happen in Waterfront Park ultimately end up. That's all for future discussion, future investment, but this would give us the framework for those future investments.
What about Memorial Auditorium? I think it was a year ago when surveys went out to people in Burlington about maybe what their top 3, plans were if they had to guess. Where are we on that? Is that on hold right now?
So it's certainly not on hold, and we are, I'm again getting up to speed on all the history, and we ran a very long and comprehensive public engagement process to make sure that what's next involves and acknowledges everything that the community wants to see in this place. It's actually been one of my favorite questions when I meet new people in Burlington is, what was the best show you saw at Memorial? And it really generates a lot of different responses. But in terms of how we're moving forward.
Yeah, so the latest on that is, Lauren, we're basically trying to go out to an RFP, to request proposals, to implement the vision that the public laid out and the surveys showed there was strong support for. So we are going to have that RFP on the street within a matter of weeks now, and soliciting operators who would basically help the city operate this event space, restoring the kind of historic use of the space, and this is a key step towards being able to realize the vision that people kind of laid out last fall. So there will be updates on this through the fall. I think we'll have a better sense of where we are in the months to come.
At one point, I think the former interim executive director, Neil Lunderville, had told me there might be a bond or a question out to voters on town meeting day 2020. Is that still a wait and see?
That's still a real distinct possibility.
Okay.
I would say, assuming we are successful with this RFP and that there is interest in partnering with the city to move that vision forward, I think there's a real chance that either March of 2020 or there'll also be a fall election, November 2020, that we would be on the Memorial would be on the ballot in one of those elections. We're not.
Mayor, were you, at one point you were talking about adding an assistant director for community works to talk about development projects within CEDO. Is that still a plan? It's
more than a plan. We, Luke is now heading this search up and can speak to the status of it, actually.
Sure.
Yeah, so we are, it is a live posting, and we are actively talking to candidates now. We've started the interview process, and it's been great to see. There are promising candidates, and I am looking forward to filling this role because it's an important position within the department for the city and all of these projects, the ones you've been mentioning on this show. This new assistant director will be able to run point on a lot of those, which will be good for the projects and good for the overall mission of the department to get all of our other programming done as well.
When it comes to housing and affordable housing in Burlington, that somewhat falls under CEDO as well, and it was June when the summit was held.
That's right.
Do we have any, did we put any of that information to work, and do you have any further kind of optimism when it comes to more affordable housing outlook in Burlington?
So, I'll jump in on this one more, because housing is after bond ratings and the northern waterfront. Maybe housing's been one of our top focus for 7 years now, and as we talk about housing, I do hope that the public senses what we are seeing in the numbers, which is that we have made some progress on housing over the last 7 years. We are seeing a much higher level of housing production, housing creation than we were seeing for a long period of time leading up to this focus. We're actually coming back with what we're calling Housing Summit Part 2 on September 4th, and we are going to lay out pretty concrete proposals in 5 areas that we think will make a further will keep us moving forward with housing. Those 5 areas are eliminating parking minimums in the downtown. One of the things that drives up the cost of housing is that we have the government requires too much parking in the downtown, and we think we should stop doing that. Like hundreds of other municipalities around the country have done, and there's going to be a proposal on that. We think that government rules get in the way of people creating accessory dwelling units, small apartments on top of their garage.
Oh, you had talked about this before,
yep.
yeah.
Brattleboro had a successful initiative around this several years ago. We're looking at what we can do to see a substantial number of new homes created with some reform of the rules. We think that it's important. There's something that impacts housing affordability is the high utility costs that some tenants pay. We want to get at this sort of split incentive issue where the tenant is paying the cost of heating or electricity, but the landlord then is not kind of on the hook for those costs and doesn't have the incentive to weatherize, make their homes more efficient. We are looking at some proposals that would address that problem. A fourth area is short-term rentals. We are concerned about permanent housing being taken kind of off the market and turned over to Airbnbs or, rental by owner. There's a number of different platforms.
Weekly or monthly type things.
Yeah. So this is an issue that across the country cities are grappling with and choosing to regulate in one way or another. This is a pretty interesting area. I mean, we don't want to be too heavy-handed about this, but at the same time, we don't want to see all of our gains on long-term housing eroded by these short-term rentals. And then finally, we are looking at some expansion of the local investment into what we call the Housing Trust Fund, so essentially the money that the city uses to help build permanently affordable housing. Updates on all those on September 4th, and then the plan beyond that is to put a comprehensive proposal for these 5 different issue areas in front of the council by early October.
Luke, Mayor, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us in.
We'll be right back on What Matters This Week.